They thought I was going to pass out when Angela was giving birth the first time.
Really?
I had a weird look on my face, apparently. I didn't, but there was a moment where like the tingles in my head started to like make me phase a little.
How many people said you had a weird look? Like how many people had concern?
Like 2 nurses.
All right, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough nurses.
They've seen these things.
They were sharing knowing looks, and I was like, I see you looking at each other. Stop it.
I did almost pass out. They had to sit me down and give me juice.
John did not pass out. I kept falling asleep during labor because I had been awake for so long. So we were doing standing labor where I was like leaning on his shoulder, and I would fall asleep draped on him in between contractions.
Aww.
Standing up, falling asleep during contractions.
Yup.
That's pretty badass.
That is like pro level sleeping.
Yeah. That's another track title.
I was so tired, Scott. Labor's exhausting. It's bonkers.
I've seen the pictures. I saw Look Who's Talking. I know all about it.
Exactly. Bless you.
All of my sex ed lessons from 1987.
Yeah, what more do you need to know?
Fully informed.
Yes.
Well, for our viewing audience, guys, should we go around and just quickly say like who we are and what our creative and parenting situation is? Like, what do we have going on?
Sure.
Thanks, Justin.
Oh, I'll start.
It's the linear thing.
Okay, I'll start here.
Left to right.
I'm Justin. I played Lark Wave Silver on the Twin Portals podcast. I have 4 now adult children. What else did you want me to say? I already forgot.
Artistic endeavors.
I'm a director and a performer and a producer and a writer. I do a lot of theater, some film stuff.
Blogging.
Now I have a newsletter. Lots of creative pursuits.
I'm Beth Brophy. I voice Ilka Gralhund, the bard. I have 2 teeny tiny children, one 3, one 6 months old, both of which have been a part of this podcast over the last 6 years. In pregnancy, I think at one point I was nursing one of them during it. That wasn't when we had video. But yeah, you roll with it. And all of them have come to every live show we've ever done in some capacity or another. I am a music director, musician. I do a lot of bassoon and accordion, like you do. Bunch of pit orchestra stuff. And I'm in process for Rent and Cats at the same time, which was a choice, but here we are.
And Rent opens
July 31st.
Which might be after we post this. We're not sure yet.
Yeah, that's true. But we run for 2 weekends.
Kind of depends on me.
Yeah.
But it's very cool.
Again.
It'll be in the same space that anyone who's come to Twin Portals has seen our live shows. That space is being completely renovated to fit a 15-person singing and dancing Lollapalooza.
Incredible.
I'm so excited. Yeah. Well, I'm Matías Valero. I was the DM of Twin Portals. I'm still DMing. I've DM'd with other local shows like Heroes B&B and D&D. I also am making a video game called Chrono CCG. I'm raising 2 kids. Their names are Will and Eliza. They are kind of offset from Beth's kids. They're 5.5 and 2.5. I spent the whole weekend with them. They're wonderful. I have a lot to talk about. Where to begin?
I'm Scott. I don't have any kids, so I set all this shit up.
We
He's
thank
here
you for your
somewhere.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a webcam right there.
Oh,
I got
Godzilla
are you
in
gonna pop
frame.
in? Great.
I'm recording on OBS, so I can splice it in later on.
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought this.
like Mystery Science Theater style reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Anyways, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'll be part of it too, but very little. Oh, and this is basically my creative endeavors now.
Making stuff.
This is all I got.
Shows.
Yeah.
Media.
Making stuff.
Yeah.
Brewing tea.
So guys, when it comes to raising kids and having lots and lots of passions, nerdy passions in particular, how and when do you share this stuff with them? Like, where do you start? What's the kernel? Is it just like so infused into everything that you do that it's like inseparable from daily life? Or are there like certain times where you're like, okay, kids, it's time for Lord of the Rings? Or both?
So Talfrin, my youngest, started coming to rehearsals at 6 weeks old and it actually worked really well. At that time, I was music directing and I was playing the piano. So this was just a little tiny potato, and I would wear a body wrap, and they would snuggle up on my chest, and the music just lulled this kid to sleep. I think a reason for that is I did 4 musicals during my pregnancy. So this kid was just marinated in music. It seems insane at the time when we're presenting, like, how are we going to do this musical? I'm going to have a baby in the room. But with my husband being the lighting designer and me as the music director, that's how it works. The kid is too young to stay with a caretaker. So here we go. With Clover, I think at about a year, they were playing with my dice as clacky toys, and that was like, keep them out of your mouth. Okay, well, those are going right in your mouth. All right, kiddo, none of those. But I'd be working,
big ones.
Exactly. I'd be working on music and doing the little kicky legs and bicycle legs because babies don't know how to use their intestines yet. So we were doing like Rhythm of Life from Sweet Charity, doobie 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 doo, with the little legs. It was precious. And then the kids just came along to every live show. Especially during the pandemic, that was the only way to make that happen.
So in essence, yes, they've been
to everything,
thoroughly
all of
submerged in it.
Yeah, we were discussing that Clover has probably seen more theater in their 3 years of life than many people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Justin? You have like a wide age range, kind of surrounding you.
As far as my kids,
yeah.
Your question about like whether you specifically introduce your passions, your sort of nerdy passions, or if it's just part of the air, right? I think it's more the latter. I don't know that there were times where we specifically thought about like, are they ready to engage with this kind of thing or not? Just thinking about what they're ready to, the sorts of stories and narratives and stuff that they're ready to consume. But there's not a part of me that isn't completely suffused with the things I'm excited about, and so I don't know how to live and not be excited about those things. And so I think just by the nature of being around, my kids saw me model being excited about stuff.
Yeah.
And so from an early age, we read together all the time, and often that was geeky things, but not always. I'm a big movie guy. From infancy, we watched, foreign films, silent films, black and white films, contemporary films. They're all movie. We would just watch good movies. Mm-hmm. That was the sort of thing that we watched together. We board gamed. My kids grew up on the stage. We did theater together. Like, it was just a part of what it was like to be a kid in our house. There was not a separate sort of nerdy thing.
Do you feel like as you learned, so you have the most experience being a dad out of the three of us here, or a parent. Do you feel like you sort of opened up the door to like more experiences for your younger kids? Like you were more okay with just kind of like throwing them into stuff, or do you feel like it's like life changes, so it's hard to like put a pin on that?
That's a good question. I was a very young father. And I think most parents feel unqualified. I think we were extra unqualified. So I don't know. I don't know how deliberate we were about those sorts of things, or how that impacted them. I can see now, because my children are adults, I can see that they have their own passions, and some of our passions overlap, and many of them don't.
Yeah.
But they are also excited about things. Many of them are tabletop role players. They love board games. They love the arts. So they have followed their own paths, with maybe that kind of passion modeling as a starting point. So does that kind of answer your question?
Because I feel like I think about it a lot, probably more than I need to, even about like is this appropriate? Like, now's the time? Like, is she ready? Does she want to do this? Or like, am I like leaving him out? Should I include him with like the different ages? And I think passion modeling is a really good term for like, I don't know, a lot of parenting.
Yeah,
it's really like teaching them to follow their passions. Like that's the biggest thing, and by following your passions in front of them. I think that wraps up the whole episode. I think we pretty much hit the nail on the head right there. So,
thanks everybody.
Yeah.
But that is part of the language we use as well, to get them excited about it. Because I don't want it to be, I have to go to the theater now. Like, I miss mom. She's not here right now. And I'm setting it up. It's not ready yet, but when the show's ready, then you get to come see it, and then they come see it.
Yeah. Yeah, Will got to see Dad's first show this year when I went and did Marjorie Prime at Renegade. and it blew his mind. It was like he hasn't stopped talking about seeing a show and like going to clap for dad, and like, it's adorable. Because we framed it that way, right? That it was like I'm not like peace out, good luck, kids. It was more just like, guess what, you get to see it soon. So when he finally did, it was like a big hype thing. And luckily he was down for that. There's probably an age where they start to get more resentful, I assume. I don't know, but right now they're both pretty receptive to everything. So I'm going to treasure that while I can.
It's important. I think that's a good point, to make sure that you're not like forcing your passions on them. I think if they want to be involved, that's exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, making them be involved, I think would probably lead toward resentment and that sort of thing. So yeah.
So as far as like the philosophy of tabletop role playing games, since we're all former tabletop role player or current tabletop role playing gamers, what are the differences and similarities between like the way you play with a kid and do creative games, like improvisational games with them, and like how you come to a D&D table? Is it pretty similar, like this sort of like yes and improv attitude, or are there like distinctions you make?
Probably like less frequent total party kills.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
they don't roll with it well.
Yeah. Eliza's of an age, at least. I hope she watches this later and just is like, what the heck, Dad? But she's I don't know, I don't want to put her on blast either in public. But, you know, kids, I'll say it generally, kids are very into, like, death sometimes, you know? Like, it's an interesting topic.
Yes,
it's very meaningful and important. Yeah. So, like, sometimes the toys die. Like, sometimes they all die. Sometimes a giant T-Rex comes and just smashes them. It's not that different than D&D, you know? I think she total parties her kills her toys more than I ever have as a DM. So
amazing.
Maybe I could learn, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you're too merciful, Matías. That's the lesson here.
Yeah, kids are more elemental. That's for sure. Do you guys have any memorable, like, teachable moments in while like playing games with your kids? Or, I mean, you've played actual tabletop role playing games with your kids, Justin. Like, we have just more done creative stuff. Yeah,
and I guess I will say we didn't do a ton of tabletop role playing games with our kids when they were young. It wasn't a thing. It didn't really fit. We had 4 kids. It was chaos.
Yeah,
it was a whole party.
It was so. Yeah, it was.
You've got the whole party.
I can't imagine somebody
how do you try to
DMing a table of children.
Justin, what's your age ranges, top to bottom?
So our oldest is 8 years older than the youngest. So there's
4 and 8 years. Right? You had 4 kids in 8 years.
4 kids within 8 years. Yes.
That's intense, Justin.
Yeah. It was a lot. And I don't, they were not, actually they were angels of kids. We got so incredibly lucky as parents. It's a little bonkers. But it still is, you're going in, we were 4 different directions or more, and trying to fit everything else in. And because we were often doing theater, like having a kind of sit down time for tabletop role playing was just a thing that didn't happen super often. But they, on their own and kind of with friends, did, and I made sure that they had the source books, and we kind of walked through things together. So we didn't do a ton of role playing, like formal role playing together. So that being said, the differences between, I think, role playing and sort of creative play with your kids is the structure, like the actual structure to it, right?
Yeah.
Which can be, I think, really rewarding, and it's I think one of the things that might feel confusing with kids when they're young. Because when you're just playing make-believe, or you're playing with my kids would have a whole bunch of little action figures and figurines, and they would call them guys. So they would play guys.
Guys and guys.
Yeah. And we're gonna go play guys, which seems very specifically gendered, but I think they meant it as like the Midwestern, hey guys, right? Yeah. So whether they're playing guys or whether they're just playing make-believe, it's so wide open, right? It's so unstructured and chaotic, and you wind up especially with siblings in the fights of like, you got knocked out. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Right? Like that sort of thing. So having the structure there, I think feels really alien at first.
Yeah.
But then it's so, once you understand the power of that, it's so freeing, because then you can collaboratively create the story with your friends. and not have a disagreement about what's happening. So I think that's a fun turning point for kids in role playing.
One thing I would say is that in some of my grant writing, I did research because I had people come up to me independently and say, you should mention that D&D is used in schools now as conflict resolution and team building exercises and things like that. So people are starting to realize the intellectual challenges of navigating a dungeon have real world value in skill building in today, for example. So
it's also used for vocally going off script. I think especially post-pandemic, a lot of students are so hesitant to speak out loud unless they know exactly what they're going to say, and so they can get very locked in their head. And so this is an exercise in a safe way of you get to say whatever, and then that happens in our imagination in front of us.
It's just like a super structured, super safe improv exercise. Yes.
With dragons.
Yes, and
fireballs.
There is that community aspect. So part of it is like having the confidence, maybe the confidence building element to like, I can say something, right, and I can contribute to this. And then there's the part like you were referencing, Scott, where it's conflict resolution. It's doing this thing together. And I feel like it's true of theater too, where it's rehearsal for what it is like to be a person cooperating with other humans in the world. And I can see, I see that now with my kids as they are adults. And you guys have seen it a little, right? When they come to the live show and the live show's done, they come up and strike, right? Like that's not just the live show. That's how they live their lives.
Yeah.
Right. And being a part of a community of people collaborating to do something it's just in their natures. And I do think that it is part of those practices, that you see in the arts where you collaboratively make something together.
I think I heard Kaylee humming "Clean Up, Clean Up."
We did sing that a lot when we were when our kids were little. Everybody, everywhere, right?
Coiling,
do your share.
Coiling XLR cables.
Yep.
Do you guys have any did you ever try to teach your kids stuff that might be like more technical or more specific than they're like used to, like trying to teach D&D to a 5-year-old, for example, or any kind of board like house rules for board games that make them more accessible for younger kids, or for like the whole, so you have like an 8-year age range, for example, you got to like make adjustments to include everyone at some point. So like, is there some stuff that's worked really well in that regard?
As far as like tailoring games, it happens a lot with board games. But it's also with choosing media, like if we're doing a family movie night, right? There's that sort of like, how can we target something that will interest our oldest child and not be too mature for our youngest child? So there was a lot of that. I can't think of good examples, but I will say that a nice thing about it, if you can manage to do it some of the time, is that the older siblings then feel some sense of like they're doing their own modeling, right? There's a bit of mentorship and modeling that they're doing, which is a theater thing too, right? Especially with youth theater. I love in youth theater when the youth theater spans a large range, because the older kids model for the younger kids. This is how we do it. We take these things seriously. We work together in these ways. Like, it's lovely.
It's true for adults too, doing shows, honestly.
Like new people to the theater.
Like whenever like folks come in from out of town who have a lot of experience, or even just like meeting the actors who've done a lot more shows and being like, wow, so that's how you do it. That's really cool to see. I want to be like that.
Yeah.
It was foundational for me in my 20s, and I haven't gotten to do theater recently, but I'm sure I'd still be like.
You did theater like 3 months ago.
Well, yeah. And that, honestly, my castmates and my director were incredible. I mean, it was really still a huge experience for me to like see how they do it and reconnect with that kind of mentality, Are you, so Beth, yours are 2 years apart, 3 years apart?
2 3/4 years apart.
Okay. It's pretty close. Yep. Are you so you kind of, and Toffin right now is old enough to start doing some things.
Yeah.
Like
they're a 6-month-old. They're crawling. They love Clover's toys for the purpose of putting them in their mouth. Clover is really in a puzzle phase. Everything is puzzle pieces. We're very happy with that. And Talfrin wants to eat the puzzle pieces, which is devastating to Clover. So this is our conflict.
Okay. So maybe you haven't had to quite figure out how to like explain something that works for both of them yet.
Right. I mean, Talfrin just needs to be contained at this point.
Even more elemental.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, Clover's really savvy. We were in the theater all day. What day is it? Golly, what day
It's
is
Sunday
it? It's Sunday.
today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Friday, John was in Zeitgeist starting to do his light hang, and Clover and Talfrin came with him, and I came across the street from Katz to feed Talfrin. So you have to either pump the milk or run home and feed the baby, or your body says, oh, I don't need to make milk anymore. So that's one of the just a timing scheduling thing that I hadn't really put together of every 2.5 to 3 hours, I must find some 10 to 15 minutes of either pumping milk or going home to the baby. How do you do this in theater? So that was a side tangent. But yeah, we were just at the theater. It's adorable. Like, Talfrin was rolling around on the stage, ate one of my spike tape numbers. I had to put down a new number 6. But they really enjoyed eating that number, so more power to them. It's just an index card. And then Clover was like trying to see what Dad's doing on the scaffolding, and then received a pair of safety glasses and felt very important that they were wearing the safety glasses.
Oh yeah.
They love to be included, and since it's just normalized, then there's nothing weird about it. There's nothing dangerous in Clover's head. We just hang out at the theater, and Dad climbs up into the ceiling.
Matías, you have to be in the thick of this, right? Like right now, you have to be navigating the like, okay, we're gonna play a game, and here's how I explain it so that you understand it and you understand it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so how are you dealing with this?
It's tough to like pin it to a certain specific concept or philosophy. I think it requires making sure that everyone feels heard. Like, that's a big part of it, because they're both so independent right now. Like, they really want to, like, Will's old enough where he really needs to be distinct from his sister. Like, he wants to be doing everything she's doing, but also like be acknowledged that he has his own opinions and can't quite articulate them, but has very strong ones, you know? So trying to kind of steer without steering, you know, trying to like help them be self-motivated to figure things out and kind of follow the lead, but also like be the leaders at the same time, at both of them at the same time, which is tricky. But there's certain activities that just work. Like, if you can find a cool art project that there's enough art supplies for both of them to do, or a show that they're both into, or a story that they both want to hear, you know, it's nothing too like surprising. It's just kind of a lot of trial and error and iteration.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I'm trying to figure out right now is teaching reading. Like I'm trying to figure out how to make reading as enjoyable as possible. And for Will, it's tough because he has spent a lot more time with his mom as the first 2 years of his life, you know, like at bedtime, he's with her usually. But like, he's starting to come over to Eliza's room where I'm reading to Eliza more often, and you know, be curious about what books we're reading and listening to some of the more grown up books. But then he usually like pieces out like halfway through a story. He's just kind of like, this is not, I'm going to go say hi to mom now. Bye. Or I'm going to go play with Legos. I don't want to hear the whole story. And like, Eliza was never like that. So I'm like, okay, I just have to be okay with this, but also like try to find more interesting stories. And I'm trying to find ways to like hook him in and also teach Eliza how to read at the same time, while also trying to include Will. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's very like iterative and specific, I feel like. With Eliza, we just did this thing this weekend. We put together like a reading adventure for her, where if she completed these 12 levels, then she got to play Donkey Kong, which was probably like way more intricate and ornate than she really needed, but it was fun for me. and she really enjoyed it too. So like, there were like reading activities, and she had to like go through each of the steps and figure out what it said and write a couple things down. And I don't know. I was just trying to think, like, how can I make reading fun? Because she kind of gets in her head about it sometimes. I'm not sure why, because she's like doing fine, you know, she loves it when she does it. So I don't know. These are some of the things that are swirling around in my life right now.
Sure. I remember when a video game example, when my kids were little, they would play like, say, Mario Kart, right? and we had 4 controllers, but Kaylee would be too little still to play. And so they would just give her a controller, and it's not actually connected to any of the cars.
Yeah.
And then just play and be cheering for her, like, oh, yay, oh, Kaylee won that round again. So I think to a certain extent, they also were careful for each other. At least, for the littler ones, I think as the siblings are closer, that it gets a little more contentious. But oldest to youngest, I think there was some caretaking happening there.
Like in general, like going back to like the reading thing, like do you guys have a way of trying to like balance teaching your kids things versus like just playing with them without any pressures like that? Do you kind of just try to fit it in when you can, or do you come at it with like a goal in mind or a bit of a moving target, like whether it's like reading or just generally like any subject matter, I guess, like about nature or, when you're outside?
I think as much hands-on experience as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Kids don't want to be told about gardening. They want to go out there and get filthy and rip weeds out of the ground for 3 hours. I don't know. I have 12 years in public education teaching music, and there's a lot of crossover to teaching toddlers. With like what I'm trying to do to present experiences, but not aggressively guide one way or the other. That just like, this is a melange of things you can check out, and you might like this, you might like that, and we're going to experience all of this today. I don't know, cooking. Like, of course, my child can't accurately measure, but I can hand them a scoop, and they can get it approximated, and I can kind of eyeball and be like, I need a couple more spoons to round that. We're good. Yes, you measured the flour. Yes, you did. So there's a lot of helping them feel really successful, and then frantically dog paddling under the surface to make up the difference.
Yeah.
I think that, I agree. And I think finding like just the things that happen just the stuff that you're doing, making them a part of that. There's so many little opportunities there for them to learn without it being an explicit, like, here's a lesson, right? And even the times that I did, so one of the things, because I was on the road a ton, and so I would have to leave early in the morning before they would get up, and I would write a little letter as I left, and it would be based on whatever was happening. Like, oh, it's the solstice today, right? So here's some things to think about. Like, and then I would draw, little cartoons, and it would be this funny, approachable, quick letter that they could read when they got up. So just finding examples of those sorts of things for teachable moments that feel more like play. But otherwise, it's the just being alive is filled with so many opportunities to learn things.
Yeah.
Just not ignoring those opportunities, I think, is the key.
Just be present. Don't overthink it.
Yeah. Yeah, really. And I can bring back, so I'm trying to think, bringing this back to games, because this is a podcast about nerdery and geekery. Like, how do I, so if I'm thinking, go ahead.
I was gonna say, are there times where like a gaming lens or like a role-playing game lens like help navigate something tough or something that was an obstacle or challenging to deal with in a different context?
You can circumvent as a parent the like really strong emotional reaction you might have to being asked why 50 times a day, or whatever it is that's setting off and pushing buttons, by using a character voice. Mm-hmm. Like, it really works. It shouldn't, but putting on some kind of a silly voice, and I'm then suddenly so much more aware of what my vocal tone is doing, and the kid is latched into like, you're being weird, Mom, and I'm here for it. We're doing something different. And I'm still explaining the same things. I'm just a goblin at that moment. And that's where we're at. But it's a hack that was taught to me like 8 years ago with elementary music classes, and it lands.
Incredible. Is that something you do, Matías, too?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, in almost any context, like whatever the problem, if you suddenly are a goblin or something, then like it's like a new scene in an improv. It's like cut, wipe, next thing. This is
now we're goblins.
Let's try it again. Yeah, and they just immediately know what to do.
Beth, would you say that technique is that's got to be just for younger kids, right? Like when
Oh, no.
really?
No, I taught high school marching band.
And so in high school marching band, you would employ this technique and it would still work.
Absolutely. They will pay attention. They're like, you are in your crackhead energy right now. We don't know what's going on. We're a little frightened, but we're paying attention.
That's wild.
I mean, I have such a host of dialects and character voices and whatnot that I would throw out there. And you have to keep high schoolers on their toes
Yeah.
at all times.
Amazing.
Did you have any like characters that you fall back on?
I'm sure I did, man.
Oh,
That was a long time
Yeah,
ago.
sure.
But we did, like, when we read together all the time. It was always like fully dramatized, right? It was voices and
Yeah.
sound effects and everything. It was, yeah.
We just read Redwall, and that is such a good book for that. Like every character has such a distinct voice.
Yes.
And they're wonderful. Yeah. I could talk about Redwall.
Justin, when was the last time you used a voice with your kids?
They were all home this last week over the 4th holiday, so it would have been last week.
Last weekend.
Legit.
But this time it's give and take. Everybody's doing voices.
Be careful with those sparklers.
Yeah, it's just how we talk to each other.
It just transitions into adult play.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And that's why we play role-playing games,
Yep.
is because we miss that from our childhood.
Yes.
How have your experiences with tabletop role-playing games or board games more broadly, but we're the TTRPG folks here, like how has that informed your parenting? Like have you pulled, besides the voices, are there other techniques, like maybe like whether like improv techniques or like gamifying things, like strict rules for resolving things that have weighed in? Like I don't know, for me, like I'm sure there are a lot of little things, but the one that comes to mind is when we're outdoors, it's such an adventure always, because you never know what's out there, you know, and you got to keep your eyes open. And there's like one thing that I really cemented in a lot with Eliza is that there's treasure everywhere. Like anything is treasure. And it's a Calvin and Hobbes title.
Yes.
But like every little bug, every little leaf, every little stick, to the point where it's actually like a problem because we can't get anywhere because she has to stop to look at everything, which is good. So I try to allow it, but sometimes it's a challenge. So like the adventure of the outdoors is probably the biggest or most like the deepest corollary.
I share a lot of magic and lore and like myths and legends around nature anytime we're out there. And at some point there will be the question of like, is this real? Is this true? And we don't know. We don't know what our lore is.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, if other households are throwing around Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, I can personify Lake Superior.
Yep.
That's fine. And the boons she grants.
Fairies are really big right now in our house.
Yeah,
They're so great
absolutely.
because they're so mysterious and they like to stay hidden, you know? So like, is Santa real? Well, he's a fairy, so maybe he doesn't want to be seen, you know? Like there's magic at play here. You can't just like make a judgment call. Or the Tooth Fairy, same thing. We saw a gnome outside, like a garden gnome, and it was there for a couple days and then it was gone, and like that has weighed heavily on Eliza.
Oh my goodness.
I think for me, tabletop gaming is so interwoven into the DNA of who I am as a person. Like just a huge part of my life since childhood, that it's hard for me to just like to separate out what of my personality is informed by that and what is just me from other sources. So I have to imagine that a lot of my parenting had to be informed by that, but I cannot think of a specific example that has to do with the mechanics or anything around the shaping of a story that you would do in a tabletop role-playing game. I think the examples that you guys have given, we also did, which is just that I wanted to convey the strong sense that the world is this magical and wonderful place. And when they were little, right, it could be a thing of a place of fantasy, and we would talk about, we used these stories all the time. There were, we would pass by a barn that was collapsed and talk about the giant that sat on it, or like it was just, and as though it was a real thing, right? There was a tree frog that would appear on Kaylee's window, and for years we talked about what that frog was doing, and if it showed up again several years later, oh, he's back, right? And he's come back from his adventures. Like we tried to make the world seem like this magical place. As they got older, that transitioned, I think, into conversations about science and the natural world that also feel magical to me. Like some of that stuff is so awe-inspiring and wondrous. You can naturally transition those conversations to those things as well. But that I think just has to do with the love of story and the sense that, that the world is this magical place. So that has, it has less to do with RPGs specifically and more to do about narrative and storytelling. But those are things that I do think strongly influenced my parenting and just who I am as a person.
I mean, they dovetail together very nicely in
Yeah.
TTRPG play and that side of parenting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like DMing and parenting are so similar in so many ways. If you've DM'd, dear listener, you could probably be a parent.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that out there.
Are there any tabletop games that are based on the experience of parenting that are like fully fleshed out like that?
There
Blades in the
should
Dark.
be.
Blades in the Dark?
No, I'm just kidding.
I got it on my shelf. It did not read like that.
Curse of Strahd.
yeah, the Murder House.
Murder House.
Yeah.
Those kids messed me up.
There are like a lot of games that are oriented towards kids, and I haven't really explored any of them too much yet. I don't know about you guys, but there's like Humblewood, or just like a lot of kind of kid-centric D&D modules.
I was just wondering if there was something overall that was based on the experience of parenthood, and it's just such a huge concept. Like, I don't know how you would gamify it at all, but I'm not a person who makes games, so.
John and I use the concept of a two-man party a lot.
Yeah.
That, we're really in the trenches right now of a newborn and teething, and nobody's sleeping. There's spit up everywhere. It's a wild ride. The house is a disaster. But very much in that caster healer versus melee tank.
Mm-hmm.
John is an absolute tank. But I have more, psychic reserves. And we both, as much as possible, try to play into each other's strengths and then name it and say out loud, like, I am out of mana in this capacity, or I am physically toast, but I still have those skills. And it really helps the both of us. We've done this for years in tackling wild, crazy adventures that we have very complementary skills, but wildly different ones as a two-man party.
With Eliza, I call it my jar of patience. I just say, sorry, my jar of patience is totally empty right now, Eliza. You can't take any more from it right now. I have none. And she gets it. Like, it really landed well when I introduced that concept. She's like, Dad, how's your jar of patience today? It's okay, I got a bit left. No worries.
Amazing.
We talked about psychic damage. So we're going to nerd out biologically a little bit here. By the hormones of pregnancy, by the last couple weeks of pregnancy, you have the equivalent estrogen in your system to if you were taking 5 months of birth control pills per day.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So if people are like, you seemed crazy during pregnancy, it's like, that's accurate. But then, so you give birth. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's miraculous. And in the next 4 days, those hormone levels drop to 0. So you also seem crazy. And it's a pretty intense swing. And the biology behind it, from a psychological standpoint, is supposed to make the birth parent lose a sense of self so that they would abandon all self-preservation in order to save the child. And if you're in the village, if you've got aunties and cousins and other people nearby who can step in and save the child, that's amazing. That's wonderful. If you are in modern-day parenting and it's just you, that performs poorly. And one example of this, when Clover was days old, I managed to get away and go take a shower, which is also something you don't get to do as a parent. It's fine. And Clover started crying. And I, like the Kool-Aid man, I was through the shower wall. I was covered in soap. I was down the hallway before I realized I had left the shower. It was this complete override to every part of my system because my hormones were so bonkers. I had no logical ability to say, the baby is fine. Dad has the baby. It is that cry sound is supposed to override you and make you get to the child as soon as possible, no matter what's in the way. And you do.
What a crazy trip.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scott, that's what you wanted this episode about, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Like, I've never had that experience before, aside from, just violent urges that need to be taken care of in the moment, but nothing that I considered my biology to set me up to take an L for, which is what it kind of sounds like.
It doesn't get talked about enough, like
Yep.
the crazy amount of changes that
Well,
your
and that's
body goes through.
It's also scary because that's at a time, fresh after birth, you have no core strength. And that's one thing, they explained that to me, and I think I had never conceptualized what does it mean. I was like, oh, my abs will be squishy. And it was like, no, you can't stand properly. You can't sit properly. It's moosh. So everything that you use your core for is impacted wildly. Yeah. Sorry, I have so many, from a biological standpoint, pregnancy is so cool. Like, as a nerdy thing, it is fascinating, it's terrifying, it's miraculous. Being patient zero, being exhibit A and living inside of it, it was not my favorite thing. But if you can academically just talk about it, it's amazing.
It's true of many traumatic experiences.
It's fine. It's fine.
I learned a little bit about it during A&P 1 and 2. For example, during the act of childbirth, there is a hormone that will dissolve the ligament, whatever it is that's keeping the two sides of the pelvis connected. It gets dissolved so that you can make way for apparently like a watermelon-sized thing to come out of your body. I've just seen pictures. I know nothing of it.
It is true. There was a moment in childbirth with Talfrin especially where I was pushing and I had this sense in my brain of if I push harder, I will break my pelvis. Like, I actually have the strength to break my own pelvis. And I was commenting to my doula afterwards, and she's like, oh, yeah, you do. You're supposed to have an override button for that, but that goes away during pregnancy, and you can push hard enough to break your own pelvis. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Who planned this? What are we doing out here?
It's a lot of years of evolution at work to think to have
haphazardly
like
arriving at a workable solution.
A self-dissolving compound inside the body that only dissolves at the exact right moment.
It's because of our giant brains. We out-evolved our brains and our hips in the wrong direction. So human pregnancy is supposed to last a year. Did you know? We give birth at 9 months because otherwise both parties would be very dead.
That's a good reason.
Yeah, but in our transition from walking on all fours to walking upright, our pelvic cavity came forward and narrowed by a bonkers amount, and our brains were getting bigger at the same time. So we have these giant heads and teeny tiny little hips to get it out.
For now, but we're
Thanks,
still
evolution.
evolving. So
We're going to get there.
What's
Yes.
next is my question.
Oh my
Just
goodness.
massive booties.
Let's go.
Something to look forward to.
I'm ready. 2026 can't get here soon enough.
Cool. I don't know. So you two were dads. What was your experience?
My ligaments didn't dissolve and I didn't break any of my own bones. So I had it pretty easy in comparison, I feel like.
Yep. Yes.
It was great. Justin read a book.
I have nothing but the deepest respect for Angela and all the other moms and people who've been in that line of duty.
Line of duty. There it is. Yep.
Jody had extremely long and painful labors every single time, and just like oh my God, what can I want to do something and I'm so useless. Yeah.
I just pictured that's Justin's selfish moment. It's like, you're doing great reading the book.
I was like, I checked my playlist to make sure a song she liked was listening. That was my contribution.
That sounds awful. That's why I'm not allowed in those rooms.
To your question, Scott, we went so far afield. I don't actually. It's a really good question about, or if not just about parenting, perhaps about parent-child relationships. That would be a really interesting thing to explore in a tabletop role-playing game. And I bet you there are some indie games that are designed around that relationship, because it would be such a fruitful thing to explore. I don't know what they would be, but I'd be fascinated to.
I can't even think of many parent, especially young child parenting characters or depictions in in pop culture, but also in tabletop role-playing game sphere, all the actual plays and celebrity shows and whatnot.
Is this perfect for an asymmetry design too, 1 to 2 to 3 parents to X number of kids? That changes dynamics quite a bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm ignorant to all of it, so I'm just saying words. It's an interesting thought, though. That's a fun thought experiment.
Is the reason why people don't do it because it gets into like ethically questionable or like just not fun territory? I feel like there's ways to do it that would be fun.
I think you'd be unwittingly pulling up trauma.
Yeah.
That sometimes you might not even know is there.
Yeah. Either like from your own past or from like being a parent. Yeah.
But it's a fruitful area. Well, maybe perhaps not in infancy, but as kids are older and start to explore their own agency, the contention that you feel where you need to grant them enough agency to figure out how to be their own human, but also guide them enough because you're the parent, right? Like there's these sort of pulling strands of need there. I think that's a really fruitful area for narratives. Like there are a lot of books and movies that explore that thing. Like how do I be a parent to a person who's figuring out how to be their own person? And I cannot think of a great role-playing game that explores that same space, unless the players like you would have the freedom to bring that into a game yourself. Right, create a character that does that, but I don't think of a game. I can't think of a game that's structured around that, exploring that.
Yet.
Somebody listening to this or watching
the wheels
this
are turning.
podcast is right now jotting down some ideas, and they're going to make something brilliant.
I mean, especially like in like 2025, like all the TTRPGers of the 5th edition, like of our age are like starting to become a parenting age, and probably want to see that representation in a game. Oh my God.
I just broke this podcast.
I'm here for it.
Matías' face just shut off.
So
thinking.
I want this to
turning.
exist. Like it is such a big part of so many people's lives that it's just kind of like, oh, there's like 3 or 4 years there where you're just like,
in the trenches.
In the trenches, exactly. I don't know.
Okay, exploring this, since I have no experience with this, Justin, you're probably the best on this. What is the effort that it's going to take to get this hypothetical game to a table for a family unit to play it? Just call it 4 to 6 human beings, 1 to 2 parents, the rest being kids. I mean, I don't know what it's like to game with kids, is what I'm saying. Especially if the game has themes that require like 10 years of age. I'll just throw out a number to like 18 years of age, something like that. So is it tough to play board games with your kids, I guess would be, and how hard do you have to curate what games you're playing?
I don't know. We were playing Monopoly when I was pretty young. In my
and look where the world's at now.
It was supposed to be a satirical game.
Brothers?
Yeah.
My dad kicked my ass at Monopoly every time I goaded him into playing.
It's such a terrible board game.
It's
so bad.
I'm sorry.
My folks were unbeatable Scrabble fiends.
Oh, yeah.
We never stood a chance. And it was always very, very fun to try to beat them. Never. It was never going to happen.
My grandparents had the Star Wars Monopoly with the little tiny Star Destroyers and Millennium Falcons, and I would set them up all over the house and have like grand adventures.
We had a Phantom Menace Star Wars one.
Cool.
It was wild. We always corrected each other. It's not dollars, it's credits.
Seriously. Sounds fun.
Do you need an Arabesh translation? Because I got one for you right here. Yeah.
I don't know. What would go into, like, you have to get someone who dearly believes in this, and then you need folk to test play it.
Yeah.
And then you probably need a licensed psychologist to talk you through doing this ethically.
This is like the Parenthood RPG we're talking about?
Yeah.
Or just like RPGs in
a
general?
board game, RPG or a board game.
Whatever.
Because I feel like this is used in like family therapy sessions. What you're describing of D&D to solve family conflict is not new.
Yeah.
It's just not marketed yet.
No one's found out how to make a profit off of
Yeah.
it until we got together in this room.
You made it sound so crass. We were being all altruistic about this.
So years ago,
I like money.
I was a game master for escape rooms, and those would often turn into family therapy sessions. I discovered that you would get parents and their adult children who would come into this room, and they'd regress so intensely into suddenly everyone has lost their own problem-solving skills and is looking to one of the 2 parents to talk them through the problems.
Oh my gosh.
And there were moments where I'm like, I am not equipped to guide you through what you have found yourselves in this moment.
Especially like the Halloween ones, probably, right? Where you're like, no, this is spooky.
No, the spooky ones, then everyone's just in blind terror. That's fine.
Okay.
That's amygdala.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
Right.
No, the ones where we're like in in Grandpa's old cabin and there's clues and mysteries laid out. That's when.
Remember Grandpa?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would a Mother's or Father's Day escape room be like? Oh, the jaw dropped.
Oh my God.
Let's do it.
Hospital escape room?
Yeah.
Oh,
Delivery room?
delivery room escape room.
Delivery room
God.
as an escape
Oh my
room.
God.
Oh, I have a physical reaction to that.
I wonder if it's been done.
I'm ready to get soaped up and dive through a shower wall to get out of this.
Good. Save the child.
I had not thought because with an escape room, there's I think a natural thing that happens. I mean, you having like game mastered, maybe you could say whether or not this is true. But I feel like doesn't it often happen, whether it's a family or not, where a person kind of like steps into the role of like we need to coordinate these things because otherwise it's just chaos. There's like usually some central person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the middle child.
If it's a family, it's
Yeah.
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
But
And
if it's
so
just a
those-
group of friends or something, there still is usually somebody
Someone
by
will take
necessity
point.
almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I had not thought about what that might mean for a family playing together because there might be some deep-seated resentments around this that just come to the surface. That's fascinating.
Yep, and I'm there in a little room with cameras listening, and anytime they call for a hint or a clue, I'll guide them. But I'm also at points I'm like, I don't know, clearing my throat or chiming in to be like, you guys know I can hear everything you're saying.
The fact that you didn't set up a Twitter account for that back in the day, you showed great restraint and privacy respect.
Just jotting down notes and
Because
quotes.
I would have done one-liners out of that, like quotes from the escape room.
Amazing.
Ugh.
Good times. That was Solve Entertainment with Matt Wagner.
Yeah.
The best
Bring it
escape
back.
room company
Bring it
that I
back.
have ever experienced.
Such a
So
fan.
incredibly good.
Yeah.
About board gaming with kids, before we leave that topic, I think there are some challenges there around like figuring out what works for young kids, what works for older kids, right? There's that balance. And even if you're playing games that are well designed and not stuck playing Monopoly, which is terrible to restate how strongly I feel about Monopoly, one of the worst games ever designed. There still is that balance, and I think Scott, you asked whether like how much time do you spend trying to figure out how to make it work if your kids are of different ages, and I think the answer is a lot of time.
Yeah.
It does take some effort.
Yeah.
There are games I think that do work for broader ages, but
I was going to ask, is this where the apples to apples fills in those sort of the big ones that you end up hearing about a lot because they do work for larger age brackets, which means it's better for family time?
I think Candyland honestly accomplishes a lot of things around the visual structure.
Yeah.
You're following a map. You
Yeah.
can go forward and backwards. Weird things happen to you on the path. I feel like that's probably a lot of introduction to tabletop.
Shoots and ladders for this kid.
Yeah.
Or just like all the deck of card games like War.
Yeah.
War was a good
one. Old Maid or...
Yeah, but it's some kind of a maze or a trackable adventure you're on. You get to the end, like Mousetrap.
There's a D&D board game, I think it's called Adventure Begins, that I bought. It's made for like 6 to 9 year olds, but the idea is that it's like a linear path, and in each space that you land on, you draw a card, and you have like a role-playing encounter. And so one player is like the DM, and will say like, how do you persuade the dragon to let you through? And then you have to like come up with an answer and roll a die, and that's it. It's just like a series of situations like that. And so it's this really
Interesting.
cool like I played it with Eliza without actually following any of the rules or really rolling dice very much, just like posing questions to her, like, okay, you're at the boss now, like what's your strategy here, like how do you figure this out? Do you sneak around? Do you talk? Do you fight?
And then do you have to make is there a DM, or the game is sort of the DM?
The game is written with a DM in mind. Yeah, like someone kind of moderates while the players go through this path.
Okay. So then do you have to make a judgment call, or is it based on dice rolls?
It's supposed to be based on dice rolls, but at Eliza's age, we haven't really worried about it.
Got it.
It's more fun just to like come up with interesting scenarios and talk through it and kind of like make a story as you go, because it's just a bunch of encounters on cards that you just read through. Eliza's at an age right now where, I don't know if you've seen this with Clover yet, but like a lot of stuff that I introduced her to at like age 3 and down has kind of faded. Like she's gone through like the switch to like older kid. So like all of this, like all these things that I like shoved in her face as a kid are now just kind of like in the background, like, you know, blurry. And now I just like reintroduce it all to her again as like a more focused and aware person. And it's really interesting.
Yeah, because I think
that'd be one of those things.
You don't yet have any, nothing has any weight because everything is all exciting all the time when you're first experiencing it at 2 and 3 years old. So there's no categories yet. Everything is just like at 100 all the time.
But even like this is going to say something about my parenting. Like we've watched like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings
yes,
at a young age.
Correct.
And like she's really into it, but like doesn't remember it anymore. You know, she's kind of like, I vaguely remember Gollum, but like that's it.
Yeah, we introduce movies and then gauge it on Clover's reaction. If they say something is scary and they want to skip it, then we skip the scene. And if there's enough scary skip scenes, then they say, I don't want to watch that movie anymore. It's like, great, all right. And it's interesting which movies I expect will be not their cup of tea, and they are all about it. And others I'm like, that? Okay.
Yeah. She made it, or they made it all the way through the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was impressed. Yeah, I thought they'd bail earlier on that one, but
no. But
which one, original or remake?
The original.
Okay.
But the mom dying and Fly Away Home, none of that. Nope.
To be clear, I just made that up.
Justin babysits my kid, and I assume they'll come back with good taste in film.
Assume.
This is educational.
Matías, I have a question for you about the starter kit. Have you ever DM'd using the starter kit?
This is the
not exactly,
the 5.0 one that came out.
Like the Mines of Phandelver or the Lost Island or whatever it was called. Or like the Sky, I don't remember what it was called, but no, I haven't really. I've looked through them, but I've like taken a little bit of material from it, but I haven't actually DM'd it.
Are they based on what just on your reading of it, are those targeted at younger players or it's just new players?
I think more just new players.
Okay.
I mean, you could definitely frame it for younger players, but with younger players, you never know what they're going to be into. So they could get really focused on like the one giant rat that you meet early on in the story, and then that's the whole story after that is taking care of this rat. Or maybe they start murdering people, you know, like I don't know. I've DM'd with middle schoolers a bit, and it's always just a trip, you know. They're very creative and really surprising, and so like whatever pre-written stuff you have, like that's just kind of there whenever you need to like pull a card from the stack of ideas, you know, but really it's just kind of like let them tell you what they're into and go from there. That's what I found.
Interesting. So, and when you're saying that they're very creative, like in unexpected ways, it seems like is what you're implying.
Yeah. Like one guy had a character who had like one giant foot and one giant hand, and everything that he did was about being like asymmetrical and off balance. And like he had like every combat encounter was hilarious because he'd just be like slapping people with his giant hand and then like hopping around on his one foot, and like it made sense. It was just like this. I've never had this experience before in a role playing game, but like thank you for doing this and committing to it. Like it was great. As one example.
Beth, are you playing board games? Are there board games that you mentioned Candyland? Are you actually playing Candyland?
No.
Okay.
No, we are whatever animal figures around the house go on adventures, and Clover wants some kind of a setting, so a house or a castle or a mountain, and then we pick out the animals that are going to be on that adventure. That's where we're at.
Do they narrate the adventure?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is unhinged. The linear progression. There's moments of like, I do see how we got there, but that's a stretch, my child.
Do you have certain like games that you're looking forward to introducing in the future? Like okay, there's going to be a time when this is gonna like be it's like they're on the shelf waiting on the wings.
Things like evolution, I think would really fascinate Clover's brain.
Like the theory of evolution?
No, the evolution game with the animals.
Okay.
And each animal can get different attributes and abilities, and then they evolve and they win or they don't. They eat each other if they're a predator. You would like evolution.
I think I played it like a long time ago.
It's a good time. But I think the ability to have a base animal, and then Clover's brain functions in chimeras, I'm pretty sure, to be like, this is my rhinoceros. It has wings. Like I'm giving it flight would totally gravitate to their little brain.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if I have any myself. Like I mean, I've got like a whole bunch of board games where I'm just like, I need someone to play with this. Children, come play this game. And they're not old enough for the game, but someday. I will say like D&D, like I feel like it's my duty to introduce my kids to D&D and like play it with them, but I don't have a strict plan in mind yet for doing that. Like the closest I've gotten is in the car, like when we're all in one place for a long time, so I know I can kind of like keep their attention. You know,
captive audience.
Yes, it works. And I'll just start asking Eliza, like, hey, you want to tell a story? Like, what's the story about? Okay, so what characters are in it and what's happening? And we just kind of narrate, you know, like,
I love
okay,
that.
so the unicorn needs to climb the mountain. Okay, why? What's going on the mountain? Oh, okay, interesting. And that's pretty fun.
I thought you meant you were just reciting the rules of 5e to him on the drive to Tucson, which is my move. Something I would totally
Here's
do.
the book, Eliza. I have bought her, like, you know, there's like they're more for like young adult readers, like the D&D for kids books, where it's like, look at all the cool pictures and read about what the classes are. And she was really into those books for a while.
I want to ask, you said you feel a duty to introduce them to D&D.
Yeah.
Do you mean D&D or do you mean tabletop?
I guess I mean tabletop. I mean, D&D is just kind of the figurehead.
Things are sort of changing a little bit on that. So I'm not sure anymore when people say D&D, if they mean D&D or if they mean tabletop.
Yeah, I mean, now that all like the celebrities have like made their own thing, that's true. The future is unclear. It would be very interesting to see what the landscape of tabletop role-playing games looks like in 5 years.
I started in Exalted. I had done 2-ish D&D sessions before this happened, but I had a huge extensive history in Exalted, and it was like, I can switch brains over to that. But I was not like steeped in D&D growing up.
You did it real well for having very little. I'm thinking back on it like, wow, I thought you were all about the D&D rule stuff, and so the fact that you were in fact trying to learn a different language on the fly.
That's probably why. You know, I came in with can I swear in this one? With an, oh, darn it, I have to get this right. I have to be reading the rules and keeping accurate to it. Whereas, you know, Exalted, I've rolled into sessions like, I got this. I know that. I don't actually know how that rule works.
Exalted, maybe I'm just misremembering, but it's like a little bit more like crunchy than D&D, so that probably helps too.
Some parts are crunchy, some parts are really loose because you can get stunting options where you walk in and describe what's going to happen, and if the DM thinks it's cool, you get magic tricks.
Yeah. I love that. Do you guys have any dreams of like creating specific kinds of content, or maybe not content's not the right word, but like shows or music, or, you know, like beyond the world of tabletop role-playing games, just like creating stuff with the kids in particular, or kind of like wait to see where they go? Because I'm not sure I can answer that question. I mean, it's so dependent on who they are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. One of the beliefs around raising musicians is don't put them in music lessons, just demonstrate music. So just have instruments out around the house that you play and that the kids can go play. It's not about get them into immediate lessons at 4 years old or whatever it is.
That's really good to hear.
It's way more, just have it be very normal. That and have playing music badly but for fun be very normal. That I get so many students who are locked into it must be perfect or it isn't music, and that is just about anathema from no, it's 6 people sitting around a fire badly playing instruments, everyone's drunk, that is music.
Yeah, that's a really good reminder.
Yeah, just have access to instruments, and then so whatever it is that you're hoping the kid will experience and like, have it be accessible and fun to do badly, fun to do at an amateur level.
It's passion modeling again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you, Matías, have things that you're hoping to do with your kids? Like, turn that question back to you.
Well, I want to do everything with my kids.
But
They're
as far as like
awesome people, and I love them.
as far as creating TTRPG stuff, or other things.
I think I might have a better answer for that in a couple of years. I feel like at this stage, they're both still a bit primordial to really be like, this is what we're going to do together. But we'll see. I mean, I keep trying to introduce Eliza to new stuff, and so it's one of those things where, you know, as they get older and start to really show what they're keen on, then I'll be able to say whether or not, you know, I can help with that, or if I'll just like sit back and support.
Yeah.
Because I don't have like a big like prescribed, you know, project in mind yet. I don't know, maybe someday. I mean, I feel like with the way media is going these days, it's so much easier for kids to like make really incredible things.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just waiting to see what the world is like, and I don't like. Okay, so like this, that just brought me to like the world of like AI and like Eliza. I've tried to at least like expose her to like the ChatGPT voice thing to some degree, because I feel like it's going to be a part of the world that she grows up in, and I don't want it to be like too like romanticized or like blow her mind. I just want it to be like something that she understands and is comfortable using. So I'm curious to see like what kids that grow up with that create. It could be a very wild world. I don't know, because I also don't want it to be like something that she's dependent on either.
At what point do you watch the entire Terminator series?
Well, we don't have plans for tonight. there's a bit of violence in that movie.
The
Yes,
Matrix
there
is shorter, just saying.
There's some violence in that one too, as I recall.
What about
Here
The
and there.
Social Network?
Shorter.
We haven't really watched a lot of sci-fi. She's really into Star Wars. We haven't watched enough Star Trek yet. We gotta
Star
do that
Wars
too.
is space opera. It's
Yes,
not
it's
really
kind of
Yeah.
fantasy.
2001.
Yeah.
Is that shorter?
It is not. It's longer.
Is it less violent?
It is much less violent.
There we go.
Dark
Yeah.
Star,
Dark
the
Star.
lowest budget sci-fi movie ever made.
I'm not sure I've ever seen it.
It's just, you must know Dark Star.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes.
It is extremely low budget. Maybe not the lowest ever, but it's
That's true. But that's what it touted itself as for a long time.
Yeah, all right.
The alien's a beach ball. There's egg cartons on the walls.
She did really like Ghostbusters. That was maybe the most science fiction-y non-Star Wars thing she's seen.
Did she take you to Ghostbusters?
We went together.
I was there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We actually just did a boxing exercise workout to the Ghostbusters theme today.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, she loved it.
Boxing makes you feel good.
Exactly.
To answer your question about doing things like thinking about collaborative projects with my kids, I guess I haven't thought about it a ton, although we do sometimes wind up doing theater things together, less so now. But I do think a thing that I love about our family is how much we are cheerleaders for each other. And so, when we were doing our live shows or even the podcast, like they would listen to the episodes, they would come to the live shows. Kaylee made this whole deck of cards with like all the characters as separate cards.
I still want to do something with mine.
That's so cool. Alex made me this hat, like a lark hat, and a little printed out figure that you can put on a light board. Like they're just into it because it was a thing I was doing. And it's the same for everybody. Like we go to each other's. That's right. Corey made these awesome swords and axes.
That was one of Clover's first toys. It was the green stabby. It looks like a pirate sword, like a cutlass.
Corey, your weapon, your plastic weaponry was one of Clover's first toys.
Oh yeah, there are little teeth marks in that.
I think Eliza
Incredible.
Brokers, yeah.
But we go to each other's shows. Like everybody will travel to go to each other's shows, and it's a part of like being cheerleaders for each other that I think is really an awesome cohesive family thing. And it seems like that's a part of the way that you guys are also structuring your family units.
Yeah.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Is there a way to I don't know what I'm trying to ask, like a way to introduce that kind of attitude without it being too in their face, Like I worry sometimes where I'm like, let's go support each other, where the kids are like, meh. Maybe it's because they're too young still. I'm not sure if there's like a certain, beyond just like modeling it, I don't know if that's like the only real thing you can do,
Yeah, I think model for your romantic partner, but also your friends.
Yeah.
I think as they watch that, they'll be like, oh, that is how humans interact with each other.
Yeah.
I suppose. I mean, that's kind of the key to most things that you teach your kids, I feel like. So there's no secret. Just model it.
Yeah, this is what we do, right? We go to our friends' things, we go to each other's things, we help to clean up afterwards. That's just how it works. That's what it is to be a person. So yeah.
I'm finally having something to contribute. The modeling thing I've recently gotten a little bit in my ear about in my relationship with Laura, because her relationship with her husband in the past was not a good one. It was not a positive male-female relationship. So to have me around occasionally now, she has made sure that I'm aware that being a good model for someone in a relationship, in a caring relationship. This is how you treat somebody who you like. This is how you show respect for somebody who you. So to me, go over there and just hang out and be a person and then leave and no drama, things like that. That's a big step up for her, things like that. So I'm learning to model too, but I'm way in the back still.
It's huge though. It's a huge thing to like, this is what a healthy relationship looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's all about that human connection and not trying to like control, but rather just to like
Just be
yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Applies to parenting, friendship, hobbies, work, tabletop role-playing games.
Because if not, what are we doing?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Just thinking about that parenting tabletop role-playing again. How do we make that good?
I don't know.
Matías' next project.
Yeah, that's what I really need is one more project.
I was hoping
Yeah.
of a pitch meeting
I've been
ready
playing-
before the con. You'll be thinking about this until 3 a.m. I can see it already.
Yeah. I'm having my evening caffeine right now. Question for you all.
Yeah.
What tabletop role-playing class would you feel like best describes your parenting style? I thought about this last night for a little while. It took me longer than I thought it would. I'll go first. So I originally was like, well, I do a lot of performance stuff, so probably a bard, right? I like telling stories and like, charisma's fun and music. But realistically, I think where I'm at in life right now, I feel like druid's probably a closer bet. Like a little bit hermitish, trying to like be very present and aware of everything and connected with everything and teach that. Yeah, a little bit of bard, a little more druid. That's me, I think. Or you could look at it as like a patron relationship where like the kid is like the warlock patron and you're just kind of like beholden to them.
The great young one.
Yeah, the great, exactly. Oh, is this enough for you? How about this?
What more can I offer?
I cut this carrot the wrong direction?
Dude. Yesterday I had to navigate a 10-minute tantrum because I took Will had a booger on his finger and I got him a Kleenex from his sister's room instead of from his bedroom.
Gross,
Like on the
Matías.
floor.
Ugh.
Yep.
We got through it and he felt really good afterwards, but yeah, that's where I think it's like, I don't know if he really cared that much or if it was just like a dad, you don't get to like mess with me like this. Like this is me asserting my independence. No judgment. Proud of you, buddy.
You gotta warn them if you're gonna drop something like that.
I know. Wrong Kleenex.
That is not one of my Kleenexes.
I'm using 2 Kleenex boxes to keep Godzilla up in front of this camera right now.
But they have these preordained expectations of how an experience will go, and mild deviation from that is deeply upsetting to a teeny tiny brain.
Yep.
Because they don't have a lot of agency in this world. They get picked up and carried to things.
There
Like
are
they
a lot of
physically.
context, yeah.
Yeah.
What other classes do we have for parents?
Right, we were doing that.
I'm just too interested now. I finally focused. Took me 66 minutes, but I got there.
Here,
Scott, what
you're with
parent
us?
would you like to be? What class were you
I
to
think
be a
I'm.
parent?
I think I'm just pure barbarian still, but
Still?
I'd probably be like lawful neutral fighter, something like that. I genuinely don't know. This is something that I've thought about, obviously a lot. Well, not obviously a lot. I have thought about it before, especially having this relationship now with Laura, this personal relationship, because I had one with her before. So this when we were in our 20s, and so this was a conversation that came up once in a while, thoughts here or there, mostly trying to dodge the act of procreation at that point, or the conception, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I just don't know. I think I would probably try to be like extreme good paladin and then crush under the weight that I put on myself for expectations for not having any failures or this or that. And
One day you'd be an Oathbreaker paladin and be like, oh no, how do I navigate this?
Thursday. It wouldn't last more than 7 days. The things I get into, though, I tend to get in way too deep. Like I throw myself deeply into things like this and the greenhouse, stuff like that. So I just go nuts. So I don't know. I like
Monk?
maybe I don't know. I only like that I'm confident I'd be a better parent now than I would have. Like I'm continuing to grow in some of these skills and emotional processes that I just never took the time to fully develop, things like that. So yeah, it's a long way of saying there's good reason that I'm not a parent. It feels like I just feel too indecisive about the whole thing. So
Well,
But yeah, probably something fierce, which is wrong. Which is why.
I think if it's tempered, again, 2-man party.
Yeah.
If you have a contrasting character, then that ferociousness works, and in a lot of places is necessary.
Yeah. Now with Laura, it's great. I mean, we don't do any co-parenting at all. I don't assume any sort of role in that relationship. If I feel like there's something I need to speak up on, I go, "Hey, Laura, should I speak up on this?" And she goes, "No, I got this." And I go, "Okay."
But you're doing some passion modeling.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be
Counts.
a better person. Right now, what class am I? Commoner.
I mean, that's the realistic tag.
Commoner. Commoner.
Yeah, me too.
That's my class right now. It's D&D parent. Huh? NPC.
Oh,
And some of my stats, I have an 11.
My really good ones.
if NPCs are an option, I'm the taxi driver. I show up and fix problems, sometimes out of nowhere.
Yep.
I think barbarian applies. Feral house mom.
Danger sense.
Yeah, definite danger sense all the time. Sometimes unnecessarily, and it's like, can we turn that feature off? What are we doing here? But yeah, the ability for the brain to be like, let's speculate every possible harm and death that will come to the two children, and like, why? What good? Anyway, monk I think also applies. Trying to keep some sense of calm and also model calm for highly emotional tiny people. Trying to talk them through breathing exercises and counting to 10 and naming our big emotions.
A lot of barbarian characters are like very calm most of the time too.
Fair, that's fair. And then they
so there's a
berserk.
balance.
Yeah, bard always. That doesn't stop.
Easy one.
Yeah.
Let's learn accordion today.
I learned a tuba once.
You did. You were so good.
1 and 2.
That's all you need.
Boom, 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 boom.
Dun, 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 dun.
I guess it's tempting to say bard, right? Because like so much of what we do has to do with stories and songs. Our kids we grew up singing together all the time and in harmonies and rounds.
You could be the truest bard of all of us.
I don't know. I don't think that's right though. Is there a paladin that serves a god that is all about like curiosity and wonder and kindness and gratitude and joy?
Oh man, your plate mail will just have like cartoons all over it.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Yeah, in like official content, I'm not sure. In homebrew, for sure.
It feels like I often feel like this overbearing sense of responsibility that these are things that require my service. And that I'm constantly falling short of what needs to be done in these spaces. So I don't know, something about that internally is probably like the class that I'm playing.
It could be like a Fey warlock too, where like your patron is like one of the Fey deities of curiosity and wonder and
like
passion,
one of the
that kind
muses.
thing. Yeah,
Sure.
or yeah,
Yeah, maybe so.
it's their high
Terpsichore.
charisma. They're very like tangent to bards too.
As
And
long
they
as
have cool
long
magic.
as it comes accompanied with massive guilt, because that's unavoidable.
That's paladin.
That's a well, paladin, yeah, or warlock, similar. One's more like
Yeah.
shame, I guess, and one's more like guilt. Yeah,
Lutherans and Catholics, really.
Yeah, it's in my programming. It's inescapable. Apparently, I'm well into my life and still unable to shrug it off. So, there you go.
It's a feature.
Yep. I'll do with it what I can.
Class perk.
yeah, make some cool stuff.
Yep.
All right, one last question.
Okay.
What are the for our tabletop role playing game audience? What are like the biggest lessons that these hobbies teach for parenting? Like what have been some of the most valuable things that you've gotten from the time you spent doing this?
That it's possible. You can mom and you can still do pretty amazing artistic stuff.
I think human connection through story, learning, mentoring, teaching, collaboration, building, creating together, all of that through story is, you can see the power of that in tabletop role-playing games that is widely applicable to the actual world.
Twin Portals is produced by Scott Hebert. This Parenthood episode was hosted by Matías Valero and featured the lovely guests Beth Brophy and Justin Peck. As you've seen, Twin Portals is transforming itself, trying something new and/or having its mid-podcast crisis, but we have a bit of normalcy to announce. Our next live show is scheduled for right around the corner on Saturday, September 6th at 7 p.m. We've decided to pile all the change on at once, so this episode will be in a new venue. Studio 4 is the small theater owned by the Minnesota Ballet, and it couldn't be easier to find at the corner of 5th Avenue West and Michigan Street. Pull it up on Google Maps and you can see the canopied entrance to the theater right along 5th Avenue West. We hope you'll pop in, grab a drink, and meet friends new and old. You can catch a few Twin Portals performers later in August at ExcaliburCon in Duluth. It's just a few weekends away on August 16th and 17th. Matías and I will be seen together doing this in public Sunday morning, last I heard, and he and Beth will also be working on other panels throughout the weekend. Go check the schedule, make some more tabletop friends in the North. As for here, we'll be back next month with our ExcaliburCon presentation, as well as possible snippets to other work we did while we were out in public. Following that is the live show, and then we're back in the home studio in October. We hope you are all having a great summer, and we hope to see you out and about in the days before fall. Scott Hebert is a fiscal year 2025 recipient of a Creative Individuals grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board. This activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, thanks to a legislative appropriation by the Minnesota State Legislature, and by a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts.